The hater seldom makes videos about wrestling news. But here we are because today's news cannot be ignored. But before we get to that, take a moment to subscribe to your boy. I'm almost at 10,000 subscribers, and I know I can do it sooner rather than later with your help. I need about 80 more subs. The goal was to do it by the end of the month. I'm pretty sure I'm going to hit it, but why not hit it a little bit earlier so we can move on and the hater can have a nice, fun wedding without the stress of getting to 10K cuts. So take a minute, please subscribe, and also hit that bell icon. Last night I did a stream. A lot of people apparently didn't get the notification, including my fiance. I told her to do a stream, and she was like, "Oh, I didn't even see the stream." I'm like, not that she was going to stay there and watch it, but she didn't even like pop up on her shit. Right? I guess she's a subscriber. I didn't even know that. Anyways, maybe she's not. Maybe she just went to the page because I told all my friends and family not to subscribe because I want natural growth. But anyways, let's move on to today's news, right? WWE has signed a partnership, quote unquote, with ESPN, which means the following. All WWE pay-per-views and like special live events, whatever, PLEs. Well, I know the LE and PLE is like live event, but what's a premium live events, right? All that shit is going to be on the new debuting ESPN streaming service, which debuts sometime this month, I think in the next 10 to 15 days, right? So what's the big deal? I'll tell you. WWE keeps on hopping from cock to cock and riding the people that are going to give them the best deal, which is understandable in business. However, this means two things. Number one, there's instability. This means that Peacock and Netflix are not satisfied with the numbers WWE is doing, right? It's as simple as that. If they were, they would keep them. They would match the money for ESPN, and WWE would have no reason to switch networks. Because when you switch networks, or in this case, streaming services, which are the new networks, when you switch channels effectively, right, you lose a certain segment of your base. There's a threshold. People are like, all right, I have like 8 streaming services. I'm not getting a 9th one for $30, right? So go fuck yourselves. $30, by the way, is the price that it's going to cost you to watch WWE PLEs now that they're going to go to ESPN. It's going to be a complete disaster. Nobody's going to want to watch this shit. And quite frankly, the hater is on his last leg, motherfucks. Now, chances are, for better or for worse, that the hater will continue to watch WWE, but only for this channel. If it weren't for this channel, ain't no way I'm paying $30 a month to watch this garbage. To be completely frank, if it weren't for this channel, I'd be watching like Survivor Series, Rumble, and WrestleMania. I wouldn't even watch SummerSlam. I don't give a fuck. So that's just how it is, and that's how it's going to be. But the facts are what the facts are, cucks. A lot of people are going to be priced out of this. Some people are going to be actually priced out, meaning that they cannot afford an additional $30 a month on WWE, right? Now, I know some people are going to be out there and they're going to be like, oh, ESPN has other good things. Do they? What do they have? Kendrick Perkins, like saying dumb shit? What do they have? Stephen A. Smith just embarrassing himself for about 20 years? Everything he says is wrong. Skip Bayless, like everything he says is wrong. Shannon Sharp just making a fool out of himself? He's not even there anymore. They fired his ass. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a bunch of dorks. It's a bunch of like has-beens who quite frankly weren't even that good. Like, that's another thing that pisses me off. In sports, it's like, if you have like a reasonable career, all of a sudden you're like a legend. Like Shannon Sharp, obviously he's a good player. He was a good player. But nobody gives a fuck about Shannon Sharp. Like, his broadcast career is already more impressive than his football career. Like, 10 years ago, if you ask people on the street, who is Shannon Sharp? They'd be like, who the fuck are you talking about? Is that a girl? Why does he have a girl name? That's what they would say, But anyways, and then you have the people like Kendrick Perkins who are like, they weren't even NBA stars in their prime. But anyways, it's not here nor there. The point is, motherfuckers, a lot of people do like sports, so if the ESPN network is worth it in other ways, you know what I mean? Because obviously they're not going to just lean on WWE, right? Because nobody's going to pay $30 just for that when it was $10, like, or whatever, $5, whatever the fuck Peacock is, Like, I watch it through Peacock, and since I got Peacock, there's other things that I've enjoyed on Peacock, right? Like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air remake, the show Poker Face, and Peacock is just a good place to stream a lot of things that are also on Hulu because I got like all the streaming shit, you know what I mean? I'm a big streaming kind of guy, motherfuckers. But a lot of people aren't. And that's the problem that I have with this. People are going to be priced out, number one, because they can't afford it. But some people, I think a lot of people, not the majority, but I think a lot of people, a significant portion of the people that are going to tune out are people that are just fed up, right? There's people that are fed up, like, with the rising prices of things. There's people that are fed up with changing networks and them having to just keep up by constantly adding more expenses every month. And then there are people that are fed up with the horse shit, right? I'll give you an example. One time I went to buy Halo 2 on Xbox, right? This is so you know this was back in the day. I go there, I'm buying Halo 2, and I'm like, can I get Halo 2? I go to the counter at EB Games, which was later absorbed by GameStop, right? And the guy's like, oh, nice, sure, here it is. And he pulls out the game from the little glass case that they used to have. Now it's like underneath in like drawers and shit. He pulls it out and he gives it to me. I'm like, thank you. He's like, oh, great. He's like, would you like to sign up for like EB Games Plus? I was like, no, thanks. He's like, oh, okay. He's like, but if you do, you get like, a magazine for another $10, right? And it's like a 1-year subscription. I was like, no, thanks. I already have it, right? Just to get him out of the way. He's like, oh, okay. He's like, would you like the strategy guide? I was like, no, thanks. I don't like strategy guides. He's like, oh, okay. Would you like to pre-order anything? So I fucking turned around and I left without saying a word. You know what I'm saying? I'm here to fucking buy the game, cocksucker. I'm not here to like listen to your sales pitch about every fucking thing that this store sells. Oh, do you want to use the bathroom? No, I don't. Suck a dick. You know what I'm saying? I'm out there trying to do something. I left. I went to another store. I was so pissed that I was like, I'd rather drive to another store and go get the game than give you even 1 cent of my money because you're pissing me off. I went to the other store. I drove there and I was like, I want Halo 2, please. Right? I was like, none of the upsells. That's what I told him. The guy laughed and he sold me Halo 2. So that's kind of what I think is going to happen as well. A lot of people are going to be like, what the fuck? You want me to like, chase you around the internet from app to app like you're some hot girl? It's fucking WWE. I don't give a shit. So I think that obviously as the price increases, then things are going to get worse. When WWE switched from pay-per-view model to WWE Network, right, things became easier, right? All the pay-per-views of the future and the ones of the past were consolidated into one easy-to-use app that for $120 a year, right, you get to watch all pay-per-views. Each pay-per-view was like $50. So you're making a killing, right? You're saving like $350 if you were to get every pay-per-view. They knew that not a lot of people were getting like Great Balls of Fire. So they're like, all right, how do we monetize Great Balls of Fire, right? Well, if we just like spread it out and do a subscription model, then that's going to do wonders, right? WWE Network is like a pioneer in streaming. A lot of people don't realize that. But back then, there was no such thing as like network-based streaming, right? It was like Netflix and Hulu. And that's it. Everybody else was like, oh, I'm going to put my show on Netflix or Hulu. WWE was like, I'm going to make my own. Once again, another Vince McMahon brilliant idea, But anyways, the point is, things became easier. Then they put the roadblock in front of us. They're like, all right, now we're switching. WWE Network is going to be defunct in the States, and it's going to Peacock, right? They sold their soul to Peacock. But what they did was they did this a little bit before WrestleMania, and they promoted the shit out of it for like 2 months. And the deal was you can join for $2.50 it was, right? For the first like 4 months. So I'm like, oh, this is even better, right? It's cheaper, and I get more shit. I get Peacock shit, right? And some of the Peacock stuff was pretty cool, like I said. We have Poker Face, we got Fresh Prince, we got a few other things, a few other like reboots and things like that, So it's kind of nice, you get some movies in there. If you're bored, you can go watch that, right? It's a good streaming service. Sometimes like Hulu is annoying and a little slower, so I just go to Peacock and I'm like, oh, I'll just watch all the Peacock shit here. It's so much easier, right? So, I use Peacock for other things. But now they're doing the opposite twice, right? They're like, oh, please abandon your Peacock, right? Which I'm not doing anyways. I'm keeping Peacock, right? Please abandon your Peacock and join us and follow us. Follow us to the ESPN like debuting app, which might be buggy, might be shitty, right? Involves a leap of faith, and I miss out on all the good shows that I would otherwise get on Peacock. But that's okay, because I can get Kendrick Perkins talking about bullshit. Who do you think the best center is? I don't give a fuck. Just watch the game. If it ain't like Chuck, Shaq, and those guys, I ain't listening to it, motherfuckers. If it ain't Kenny, if Kenny ain't involved, I ain't listening to it, motherfucker. If Ernie ain't there, I'm not listening to it. That's the only sports show I watch. I'm not watching Pat McAfee and AJ Hawk talk about like, oh, did Sabrina Carpenter like shave her bush or not? Like, I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? A lot of us are done with this shit. So we're trying to get back to cool things. And WWE is trying to hang their hat and hitch their ride to ESPN. But what if this network fails miserably? Then what does WWE do? Take it up the ass? They might fail miserably because for $30 a month, a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, I'm not doing that shit. There's a lot of free options out there. There's YouTube. You can watch the hater play Resident Evil. Who the fuck would prefer to watch Kendrick Perkins when you can watch the hater kill zombies up in this bitch? See what I'm saying? A lot of things are changing, but WWE doesn't have any stability. Every couple of years, they have to switch something because everybody's upset, which brings me to the main argument of this video. WWE is suffering and they are economically unstable, right? Stability means many things. One metric of stability is stability itself, right? If you consistently go to work, you're stable, right? If you consistently get paid, you're stable. If you find yourself rammed in the ass, right, then you might be unstable. Now, instability doesn't mean you're losing. You could be unstable and win. Like UFC was unstable for a long time, and in some ways still are, but they win because they keep piling on victories while being unstable. WWE clearly has taken the inferior position towards UFC, towards everything. There was a point where like WWE fans would laugh at UFC fans. It's like, oh, you watch these two unathletic losers. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, here's like Forrest Griffin. Oh, this guy's the world champion. It's just laughable. It's like this guy like Forrest Griffin might lose like a random bar fight. You know what I mean? Like he would never be the world champion of anything else other than UFC. But like the point is, it doesn't matter. Like UFC was able to like market itself as being the elite like fighting, game, right? And it worked. I hope BKFC takes it out of its top over time, but that's going to take some time now because they're firmly at the top, right? It's the same thing with everything else, motherfuckers. It's the same thing. But WWE doesn't learn its lessons. They find themselves in a compromised and inferior position where basically they have to open up their asshole and take whatever is coming. You know what I mean? So look at it this way, right? Let's just say that WWE was pursued by ESPN Plus, right? They're like, please, WWE, you got to come with us. We'll offer you like more money than Peacock did, which is almost certainly not what happened. If they were good enough, Peacock would say, hold on a second. We gave you, I don't know, 100 million. They're giving you 200 million. We'll give you 250. If you're that good, they will pay you for it, right? But obviously that's not going to happen. Peacock's going to be like, well, let's see. You've gotten kicked out of like 100 networks over the last like 10 years, right? You were demoted from Fox. You were demoted to Netflix, right? Netflix probably hates your ass. We see that you've brought in basically no revenue in the last like 3 years for us that justifies our investment in you. Good riddance, right? Just like Murdoch said, just like Lachlan Murdoch, the son of Rupert, said, he was like, look, at Fox, we take our money seriously. WWE isn't bringing in the dinero, so fuck off, right? Now, WWE just signed the Netflix deal. So now Raw is going to be on Netflix still, right? Unless Netflix backs out of the deal. They obviously have an exit clause, which I'm sure they're going to, attack. And also, Netflix, as far as I'm concerned, I think the pay-per-views are also on Netflix. I could be wrong. I only watch them on Peacock just because I prefer Peacock, like the interface of Peacock over Netflix. And quite frankly, I'm not sure if they have them on Netflix. And every live event I've seen on Netflix has been problematic, So I think they might have them on Netflix. And I know in other countries like Canada, they have them on Netflix. But the idea is exactly what it is, right? The point is exactly what it is, right? Netflix, clearly, if they were satisfied with WWE's performance, they'd be like, hold on a second. We are obviously bigger than ESPN. Like Netflix is like 100 times bigger than ESPN, like conceptually, right? And their app is going to be like God knows, thousands of times bigger than the ESPN app ever will be, right? So they have more money than ESPN. Like Netflix will throw like 10 million away to get some like nobody Korean show that 3 people will watch. They got money, motherfuckers. So they would go to WWE and be like, whoa. How much did ESPN offer you? Because we'll offer you more if you come to us and you get a bigger reach. Win-win for everybody. The problem is, it's not that WWE doesn't want to go with Peacock and Netflix, which are much more popular than ESPN, period, right? They want to go where they can, motherfuckers, because these other streaming services are like, yo, you suck ass. So now the new ones are like, all right, we'll open our asshole, and maybe we'll both win a little bit. Because WWE still has fans, obviously, right? And there's a lot of fans that are like, oh, great, I have to pay 30 more bucks. I guess I'll do it. There's going to be a lot of those. Maybe even like, hundreds of thousands, not millions. You can rest assured that's not going to be millions. And what's going to happen is this. Like, Raw and SmackDown need to change. Because if a lot of people are not watching the pay-per-views, if you go back to the pay-per-view model, right? And at this rate, the only time you're going to see Cena, Roman Reigns, and Cocky wrestle is on pay-per-views is on ESPN, Well, then why the fuck am I going to watch Raw and SmackDown? Right? Because if I'm not watching the payoff, which I could watch on Peacock for almost free, basically, right? Then fine. I'll watch SmackDown and see what happens because it leads up to the pay-per-view, right? Now, I ain't doing that, you know? I think a lot of people, including myself, are going to, like, get ESPN and, you know, like, seasonally, right? Like, if they have, like, Red Zone included in this, which they fucking should, because it's like, what else am I paying for, right? Then during football season, you know, I'll have it. Obviously, during WrestleMania, I'll have it, right? You know, and I'll watch it here and there. The other ones, I'm going to have to figure out a way to watch them. The hater doesn't like pirating pay-per-views. But honestly, like, I understand that a lot of people are going to do that. I don't like it, but, and I'm not justifying it because I still think it's stealing, but it's like, this is basically price gouging, right? You're moving in the opposite direction. You know, if things were getting better under Vince and they're getting worse under Triple H. And this is by far the ultimate example of that. Now, if you want to watch a pay-per-view next year, to be fair, right? You are going to have to, motherfucks, pay $29.99 to get access to fucking, like, Clash in Paris. Do you think anybody is paying $29.99 to watch Clash in Paris? Motherfucks. Like, if you paid me if I didn't have this channel, if you paid me $30, I wouldn't watch Clash in Paris. I'd be like, I will pay you $30 if you let me off the hook so I can, like, I don't know, like, play Bully or play Resident Evil or something, right? I would do that, you know? So their value system is completely off whack. And in my personal opinion, this is another example of WWE fisting the fans once again. Now, I will say this. Sometimes necessity calls for it, right? Like, I don't know the circumstance. I suspect that things aren't going well. And this might be need-based, right? Meaning that WWE finds itself in a situation where it's like Peacock doesn't want them. Netflix doesn't want them, right? Let's say. We don't know what's happening behind the scenes. So as a result, they're forced to go to ESPN, right? And in that situation, we have no choice, right? Like, I would almost feel bad. I'd almost want to support them, right? Because the idea is, like, you know, if they're switching and they have a choice, like take a little bit less money maybe, but keep your fan base happy, you know, then that might be economically more viable too, right? Because this is not well thought out. This is not going to work out well, believe me. Just like I said, the Netflix deal, which by the way was fucking this year. It was like 4 months ago. Like the Netflix deal started, no, it was like 7 months ago. 7 months ago, the Netflix deal started, and now there's another deal on the horizon. Think about that shit. I told you it was going to fail, and it failed. WWE is fucking on its last leg, motherfucker. Like AEW at least is being managed more intelligently. They're like, I mean, for now, in these last few weeks, because I haven't seen any big money signings recently, but WWE is just like out there just throwing money away. You know? So there you have it. I think what's happening is going to be a wake-up call. I don't think WWE is going to fail, obviously. I think they're going to get their shit together. But if there ever was a time where we needed Vince, this is that time, motherfucks. The Triple H experiment has proven to be a failure. And not only has it proven to be a failure, it has proven to be a failure time and time again. By the end of this calendar year, I bet you there will be like 10 more things that Triple H will do that are retarded. So it's time to pull the trigger on firing his ass, right? Nobody wants him around. He doesn't know what he's doing. Lee Fitting doesn't know what he's doing. Triple H needs to just retire and go into the sunset. Now at this point, Triple H is like in his 50s, right? So like, you know, that's not like, you know, he's not old. Like he can obviously keep going for decades at this job. But retiring at 56 for a man who made his money using his body, you know, is perfectly reasonable. He can just retire, hang out with his family, raise his kids, and move on with his life. Because at this point, you know, as far as I can tell, Triple H has pretty much shot the bed, and nothing is, you know, going well for him, you know. And I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, you know, I hope that everything works out well, but I just don't see anything happening in a, you know, any kind of like intelligent way. So, you know, we'll see how it goes, motherfuckers. Anything's possible, but I believe that at this point, shit is not looking good. And there you have it. Like, you know, what more can we say about this? You know, another L for the WWE. That's basically what's happening here. Massive L's. L's on top of L's, motherfuckers. With that being said, take care of yourselves and go fuck your mothers.